What's up, everybody? My name is Chad. You're watching Downshift Pass, and this is the 2025 Infiniti QX80 Lux.
And that's right, folks. Of course, we have the Lux trim level of the QX80. So, of course, we're going to go over the exterior. This is going to be my favorite angle of the car. It just looks rich. It just looks good. The interior, and then take a look at this here, this cover here, which is a little finicky after this car has 9,500 miles on it. We're going to go for a drive, but well over 20 minutes of this car self-driving and do an audio test. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and continue watching. All right, folks, we're going to start with what every QX is known for, and that is this exterior styling, especially this very large front grille here. Now, I love that it has some details here. It almost looks kind of flowy and fun. It's really nice. Now, this Infiniti symbol here is very large in your face, in charge, and this is actually lit. So if you look closely, you'll see where the lighting element is. So when the headlights are on, you do have a lit Infiniti symbol. Nice bright work that surrounds the grille as well. And as we move down below, this is going to be where all your self-driving functions live. So in that block there, you do have parking sensors up front as well, and even further below, some more bright work to kind of give it a little bit more of a breakup between the color of the car and its lowdown as the car goes. Now let's take a look at this element here. Full LED, of course, and you would think is your headlight, but it's actually your daytime running light. And as you can see, it is also your turn signal, and it is divorced from the headlight, which is here. So you do have a LED, of course, high beam as well as low beam headlight. And overall, it just looks really strong, really aggressive, and very, very QX. Now, as we move along to the side here, this is where, I don't know, it just is a little bland. It's like a slab of metal, boom, that's it. No design details or anything like the front. Now, on the front fender, you do have this fake vent here with some bright work to kind of brighten it up a little bit. And then these wheels here, these wheels are exclusive to the Lux model. They are a 275 up front and in the back, 275 22-inch wheel. So a very large tire and a very large wheel. And I'm going to step back a little bit here. And I don't know, it is in its lowest setting as far as suspension goes. So it looks like it fills it out. But when it's not in its lowest setting, I feel like it needs a larger wheel, which you can get if you step up to the higher grade trim levels. Now, here is your power folding mirror, of course. You do have a turn signal on the side as well as a camera down below. And you probably notice the handles actually retract. Let's see if it'll do it. It'll lock up. It won't retract. Oh, yep, they retract it. And as you walk up, you'll see the handles kind of greet you so you can hop in the vehicle. You do have fixed running boards on the Lux model. If more bright work around the vehicle windows as well. And I do love this small little element where you kind of have a little step up here and a swoop back on the last pillar here. I think that looks really awesome. Now, as we move along to the back of the QX, this is going to be my favorite angle of the car. It just looks rich. It just looks good. And started up top here, of course, you do have almost like a spoiler built into it. Looks really nice. And then your third brake light, and right under here is where your windshield wiper lives. So it kind of gives it more of that Lux feel by just keeping it completely clean. Again, more bright work that surrounds the vehicle. And these tail lights, folks, I don't know if it translates well on video and pictures, it really does not. But in real life, it almost has a 3D look. And then at nighttime, it looks like kind of the Infiniti symbol, like a road that's just going up when you're walking up behind it. So full LED light bar, full length light bar. You do have LED turn signal, as well as a LED reverse light. And then of course, as you can see, you have Infiniti spelled out very nice and large here. And I love the font that they use for Infiniti as well. QX80 badging, four-wheel drive system, and then your parking sensors down below. This black cover that you see here actually covers the tow hitch. This vehicle is a body-on-frame SUV, and it is rated to tow 8,500 pounds, so a lot of weight. Now, if you want to open the tailgate, you have a couple of different options, but back here, there's a button. You push it, it beeps, and it opens up nicely for you. And this is the amount of cargo room that you have behind the third row seat. So it is not much whatsoever. Sun's kind of shining bright, but I have my very broken tripod here to kind of give you some scale. So not much space. You can fit a stroller or two back here. Suitcases, if you shuffle them around, they'll be able to fit, but you do have tie downs back here as well. So if you do put something back here, at least you're able to tie it down. Taking a look under here, that is going to be where your subwoofer lives for the audio system, and you have a little bit of storage space here, which actually comes out with the pull of this tab, and that's where your spare tire items live. So this is pretty much it as far as cargo function goes with the seats up. If you want to let them down, you just come to the right side of the vehicle, and you have power folding seats for the third and the second rows captain's chairs, and they are one touch. So you press it one time, it folds, and for the second row, I'll do the same. And as you can see, it power folds all the way down. A little slow, but I love that you don't have to go to the front of the vehicle to control it. And then that's when you're greeted with a little bit, well, a lot of bit more space. So if you want to let them back up, you just push the button here, and as you can see, they fold automatically back up. One really neat feature here, you can control the suspension from the rear, so you can raise and lower it. So if you need help putting items in, you're standing in the back, boom, you can just push those two buttons, raise and lower that suspension to help you out here. Now if you want to close it, of course, you just push the button, and that is it. I'm stay back here for this beautiful back end and tail lights. Now moving along to, let's take a look at what's under the hood of the QX. Now raising the strut assisted hood here, this is Infiniti's twin turbocharged 3.5 liter V6 engine. So yes, they definitely got rid of the V8 like most manufacturers are as well. And if you hear that ticking, that's actually a turn signal. I find that very strange, but this is your engine here, produces 450 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. So some very healthy numbers from a twin turbocharged V6 engine. Gas mileage is rated at 18 miles per gallon combined. And folks, I went on a 600-mile road trip and I got over 20 miles per gallon. Stay tuned for the drive so I could talk about that. It was exceeding expectations, over 20. Now let's go ahead and hop into the back seat of the QX80. As I open the door, this is what you are greeted to. This gorgeous, gorgeous brown interior, almost like a caramel color here. Now again, my vehicle, my Tesla does have the captain's chairs. You can get a bench. That's standard, so the captain's chairs are optional, but if you do want a bench, you can get it. And taking a look at door materials here, soft touch everywhere that you touch in this vehicle, fully leather door card here, and then down below, this is a suede material, so it kind of gives it some texture. You have texture, you have colors, it looks really awesome. Bright work around the speakers here, 2 speakers in the doors. Really nice. Now these captain's chairs are powerful captain's chairs, or excuse me, they're power operated captain's chairs. So you can push it here. If you want to recline it, you have that option. And if you want to go back and forth, you have that option as well. So I love that they are power operating and they slide back a lot to give you a lot of space. And I'm going to keep it in its furthest back setting. So when I get to the third row, you'll be just as impressed as I am. Now, if you did want to fold it to get to the third row, you do have a button here. You just press and hold it, and the seat will actually start power folding. It is very slow, but if you do have a child seat, as you can see, it doesn't fold, so you can keep the child seat there and it'll stop as soon as it touches something. So if the child seat is there, it'll stop as soon as it touches the front seat, so you don't have to worry about that. But very easy access to the third row from here. So I'm just gonna go ahead, step up and step back. It's one of the easiest third rows I've ever had to get into. Now, if you wanna let this seat back on that same place, you just push and hold the button, and the seat is going to slowly but surely come back to where it was. Now, while I'm back here in the third row, let's talk about features. You do have a power adjustable third row seat, so the backrest is adjustable, and that's really awesome for road trips. But take a look at this space, folks. I am 5'8". I'm slid back in the seat here. I have a ton of space back here. Not much space to slide my feet under, but because this is captain's chairs, I could just throw my leg out here. I could just relax. So if you have adults back here, they will be a-okay. If you have kids, they shouldn't complain at all. You do have a USB-C port back here as well. You have it on both sides, and you have vents up above in the ceiling. Now, if you were to step up to like the autograph model, or even the next trim up from this one, you can get heated seats in the third row, which is a class exclusive. So heated seats in the third row, but this is not the penalty box that third rows used to be. This is very spacious. Now, one feature that I absolutely adore is because you get the captain's chairs, instead of having a big old middle console like they have in the front, they have it on one side. So a very thoughtful feature. So you have access to the third row here, and you still have easy access if you need to place items in a small storage area, and you have 2 cup holders that live there as well. But I'm going to go ahead and step up to the second row here. And as you can see, just step, and boom, now I'm in the second row chair. So the seat is a little forward right now. Again, it's power sliding, so I can let it back. It does make a lot of noise, but it is power sliding, plenty of space to put your feet under. And then of course the knee room is just amazing. It's just so much space in this vehicle. You have map pockets on both doors, and of course power windows. They do slide halfway down, not all the way down, but they are one touch. And then this part here, and actually I'm going to cut the car on for a second. All right, this part here is actually where your climate control is for the rear seat passengers. So you can control the temperature, obviously fan speed. They are heated and cooled second row seats, so I love that it's heated and cooled. You do have a regular 12 volt here, and then 2 USB-C chargers back here as well. Vents in the ceiling on both sides back here, and take a look at the panoramic sunroof from the rear. Really nice space back here. So again, back seat, not the penalty box. Third row, not the penalty box. But let's step up to first class. All right, folks, so getting into the front of the QX, let's take a look at the key here. And I'm going to be completely honest, for a $100,000 truck, this key is a disappointment. There's no weight. It just kind of looks cheap. I don't know, but Infiniti is written on the back, Infiniti up top. Of course, you have your lock, unlock, hold for the tailgate, as well as your panic button. And this does have remote start. Very easy to operate. Press the lock button, press and hold that button, and the vehicle will start right up with this finicky key. But with the key in your pocket, you can just walk up to the QX. I showed you how the handles will power deploy, but hand behind the handle to unlock, and there's a small little indentation here to lock it. Power folding mirrors and everything, but hand behind the handle to unlock. And let's go ahead and get inside, or let's go ahead and take a look inside the QX here. Of course, you have your power seats as well as lumbar control for the driver and passenger. And taking a look at the door here, same beautiful materials that you have in the rear, same beautiful textures to kind of give it just a little bit more elevation. I love it. 2-person memory seats on the Luxe model. You can get 3-person if you step up. Power folding mirror button here as well. Might have to be in the car for that, but you do have power folding mirrors. And I'm just going to go ahead and step inside, and let's take a look at this startup sequence. So of course, foot on the brake, push button start. So it makes a really nice noise, really nice graphics that you have. Cut off this hazard control. Really nice graphics that you have when you start the vehicle up. Now, when you first get into the QX, the first thing you are going to notice is this massive screen here. It is 14 inches, and folks, it's actually 2 screens. As much as it doesn't look like it, it is 2. As you can see, it does break apart here, but they do a really good job of continuing whatever is on the screen to the opposite end. So it looks really cool as one screen, but it's really 2 very large 14-inch screens. So of course, let's start with your gauge cluster here. It is fully customizable. You can change the speedometer. You can change all these items with the push of a button on the steering wheel. So if you want to go to your settings here, just go to your settings, and this is how you change so many different vehicle settings and everything else. If you did want to customize the display, it's always one of my favorite things to do. You have a couple of options. You can go to dynamic, which looks like that. Or you can go to enhance, which looks like this, and anything that you have in the middle will show larger in the middle under enhance. Now for me, I personally just keep it in elegant. I just like the way it looks. It's elegant, it's simple. It doesn't change colors or anything if you put it in different drive modes, but there you go. Of course, you have this nice, beautiful 2-spoke steering wheel here, so you can control here. This is a heated steering wheel, and it is a very thick steering wheel, but the heating element goes around the entire steering wheel, so I absolutely appreciate that. This little thing right here keeps its eyes on your eyes. So if you are using the ProPilot Assist, which absolutely stick around for that, it's making sure that your eyes are on the road. Now to the left of the steering wheel, you have a couple of different buttons here for your head-up display, your power tailgate, auto start stop, and then of course your parking brake and auto hold buttons here. Now moving along to the infotainment screen here, which is beautifully surrounded with this piano black situation. Oh, it just flows into infinity. It just looks really nice in here. This is, again, a 14-inch screen. It is operated by Google, so if you want to use Google, you absolutely can by saying, hey, Google, turn the temperature to 78 degrees.
Got it. Changing the temperature to 78 degrees.
So I think that's really awesome. If you're familiar with Google products, then you'll absolutely know how to use this system. Of course, you have wireless CarPlay as well as wireless Android Auto. One thing I do wish is that it took up the entire screen. Once I got to use it and understand it, I completely understand why they did not. It's nice to have your controls that are easily accessible here, as well as some quick controls on the left side here. But it just would look better, I think, if it was just a full screen and they incorporated maybe physical buttons here, because physical buttons are still appreciated, and you know Infiniti knows that because they have a physical volume knob as well as a physical tuning knob. So I appreciate them for having that. Now as we move down below here, this is going to be where your climate control lives. So this is an actual screen. It does not move. It doesn't really do anything. It would be nice to have some space under here. I think it just kind of takes up space. But this is where you control your climate controls. Does look a little busy, but you get very used to it. You have heated and cooled seats for the driver as well as passenger, dual zone climate control that you have in here. And then if you press rear here, you can control all the functions for the rear. The heated and cooled seats, the fan speed, the temperature. So I love that you have that option. Now it is odd, but your drive modes also live in this screen. So if you press modes, this is where you can control your different drive modes. So you have standard, eco, sport, tow, and snow. And then of course you have auto, all-wheel drive. Now if you press 4 high, you can put it into 4 high. And the camera comes on when you put it into 4 high, up to a certain speed, it'll cut off. But I just love that feature here. And then of course you have your traction control button and this P access button. If you notice how low the car was sitting, that's what this button is. If you press this, every time you put the car in park, it will lower to help you with getting in and out. And it absolutely helps. When I'm stepping in and out of here, I mean, it feels like just getting in and out of a car. I actually don't even have to use the step. I could just hop and slide right on in. So that is an appreciated feature that they have. And if you press high, that will put the suspension in its highest setting, which you probably noticed at the beginning of the video. Of course, you have your hazard button here, PRND for the transmission, and you do have a manual mode. So if you put it in drive, obviously, you have paddle shifters that you can use, or if you press M, it'll just go into that manual mode for you. Auto for the suspension and the camera button as well. So if you're pulling up somewhere you need to use the camera, you could just push it very quickly and the camera pops right up. So I love that they have that. Now, if you press and hold this button, it will turn to dark mode for you as if you have the headlights on. Everything will just go dark. So that's a really neat feature. Cup holder, as you move down below, it is covered. And then take a look at this here, this cover here, which is a little finicky after this car has 9,500 miles on it. This covers your wireless charger. So wireless charger, you just slide your phone down, it automatically charges. 2 USB-C ports here, and then you push this button here to gain access to your middle console. You have a nice shelf in here, and it has a decent deepness. So you can see, I do think it could be a lot larger. It's not a lot of storage space for such a huge vehicle, but you do have storage space a little. If you look under here, you have a tunnel here where you can place items. And as we look up above, of course, again, this is your panoramic sunroof, and it is power operated, and the power sunshade as well that you can push to close everything right on up. But that is pretty much it for the interior, the front space interior of the QX80, folks. Let's go ahead and take this baby for a drive. All right, folks, gliding over speed bumps as we set out here in the 2025 Infiniti QX80. Now, again, this is the Luxe trim, so powertrain is going to be the same. The biggest difference that you'll get between the higher end model, the higher end trim levels, and this one is going to be features. Now, I love driving this vehicle. It's very, very easy to drive for the size of it. This, of course, is a full-size body-on-frame SUV, and it is massive. Massive, okay? But it doesn't ever feel like you're driving such a large beast, especially when you're coming to park it or anything. Especially when you're parking the vehicle. It doesn't have four-wheel steering, but it absolutely parks as if it does. It parks as if it's a smaller vehicle. Now, if you watch my channel, you know I also drive a 2006 Acura RSX. Now, granted, much older vehicle, but the fact that I feel more comfortable making a U-turn, maybe, you know, when I shouldn't, making a U-turn in this than I do my Acura, says a lot. Now, we're getting that twin turbocharged V6 engine, 450 horsepower. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing in sport mode, and let's do a quick 0 to 60. I'll brake boost it and take off. All right. Different publications I've seen get different 0 to 60s, but I've seen about 6.1 seconds. So let's just say 6 to 6.5. And this car feels like it does that. Definitely missed the V8 noises that it makes. This V6 to me sounds like, I know you guys remember the VQ series engines from Nissan when it was at its best. But this car kind of sounds like that, and it just doesn't match the look of the vehicle. So it's a little strange to me that it sounds so much like a sports car. I'm going to punch it again. Let's listen. I don't know. Excuse all the camera equipment that you hear sliding around in this vehicle. Yeah, it wouldn't be a deal breaker, of course, but the sound is just, it's just odd. I don't know, it's just odd. I'm going to put it back in its standard mode. Now, when you drive this car as intended, which is right now, to be honest, I don't think it'll be as smooth as one anticipates. If you've driven the last generation QX60, now obviously it was a very old platform, a very old vehicle, but it still drove pretty smoothly. This new QX, along with the Armada, are all new from the ground up vehicles, so I kind of expected something to drive a little bit more luxe, but this handles roads, but this handles rough roads nicely. It's just a little bit rougher than I would anticipate it being. I don't mind the noise. It's not matching up for me. Welcome to Downshift Pass, folks, where we will put any type of vehicle through its handling paces. Now, in the corners, it feels very, very nice. It's not as floaty or as wallowy as the last generation QX was, or as you probably anticipate it being. It's not rough at all or stiff or anything like that. It's just perfectly compliant when the curves get to curving. Now, highway driving is really nice. Very quiet on the highway, super good visibility out all sides of the vehicles, especially your blind spot there when you look over your shoulder. Of course, you have your blind spot monitors and things of that nature, but outside visibility is always really important to me. Nice large glass in the front, and take a look at how the hood also has those beautiful curves that you kind of see in the grille and in the back. Just really nice lines on the vehicle. Now I did take this car on a 600, it was about 300 there, 300 back. So total 600 mile road trip. As soon as it got dropped off at my house, I was like, I have to go somewhere. I have to put this baby on the road. Halfway through, I thought, oh my gosh, I have to put gas in this thing if I run out of gas or if it gets too low. And so I started paying attention to the gas mileage that it was getting. I know it said 18 combined. I live in a city atmosphere, so I don't talk about gas mileage too much. But on this road trip, I absolutely did. So the combined mileage that I got on that drive, on my road trip, was 22 miles per gallon on the way there, folks. 22 miles per gallon. I was blown away. One, that blows away the EPA estimates that Infiniti sends out. And two, look at this huge car, 22 miles per gallon. I was traveling about 70, 75 miles per hour the entire way. I was using the self-driving function about 90% of the time, and that is what I got. Now on the way back, I got about 19 miles per gallon. I was going a little bit faster. It was a lot less traffic, but quite impressive gas mileage out of this twin turbo V6. So those twin turbos and those V6 engines are coming in handy, at least in Infiniti's case. Now I do want to talk about ProPilot Assist. Now they have a hands-on as well as a hands-off system. I'm going to try to do the hands-off system. Hopefully this notices my eyes. Usually when cars have this, they have a hard time seeing my eyes with the way that I film. I obviously can see, but it has a hard time seeing my eyes. But very simple to cut on. You see this blue button here, you push that. What pops up is that screen there on the dashboard, and that lets you know that you're ready to start it. And you just press set, and then the car will go into its ProPilot Assist mode, as you can see. Now this, when it's green, is the hands-on mode. Oh, it's blue. When it's blue, hands completely off, folks. And this car will drive itself until it doesn't want to drive itself anymore. It'll auto switch lanes for you. You do have to confirm it, but it'll auto switch lanes. It'll do whatever you need it to do without you touching the wheel. I went well over 20 minutes. It was a straight highway, but well over 20 minutes of this car self-driving. So you set the speed that you want. Someone cuts you off, it slows down, it speeds up. ProPilot Assist 2.1 gets 2 thumbs up for me. This is hands down one of the better self-driving systems that you can get in a car. It's right up there with Super Cruise, in my opinion. So just my little rant about ProPilot Assist. Infiniti nor Nissan told me to say these things. I just was wowed at it when I was actually on my road trip. Now enough about the self-driving. Let's talk about the audio system in the car. Now this is the first time Infiniti has used this audio brand. It's called Kilpsch. It's a very high-end home audio system company, and they've included it as standard equipment on the QX. And you also have the option of an upgraded audio system under the same company. Now mine is the standard one. I believe it's 12 or 14 speakers. I'll make sure I put that in the description box or on the screen. 12 or 14 speakers that you can get on the standard one, and if you were to upgrade, you have 24 speakers in this car. But I'm talking too much. Let's go ahead, play some music, take a listen to the Kilpsch audio system in the Infiniti QX80. right, folks, and that is the standard Kilpsch audio system that you can get in the QX80. Drop down in the comments below, let me know what you think of it, if it's something that you would want to make sure you get the upgraded audio system, or if you want to stick with the standard one. Me personally, I definitely want to get the upgraded system. This one does not sound bad. It's very odd though, in the driver's seat it sounds decent, but when you're in the back seat or the passenger seat, it sounds so much more full, almost concert-like. And I've played with a lot of the audio settings for sure, and I can't get it right for the driver's seat. So does it sound bad? Not at all. But does it sound phenomenal for a $100,000 car? Not at all, in my opinion, Now the car is still self-driving itself. It did so through the whole audio system. And if you noticed, it gave the option to switch a lane to move around slower traffic, which I love. To do that, you can use obviously the stalk here, or you just push this button here. Now, when you do have to auto lane change, your hand does have to be on the wheel. So you very lightly, I mean, you can do this and the car will recognize that your hand is there, and it'll switch lanes automatically. It's saying it can't see my face clearly now. But it'll switch lanes automatically for you. So I think that's a really neat feature. It's back into full hands-off self-driving. So I think it's a really neat feature that it'll switch lanes. And if you're cruising in the left lane for too long, the car will actually tell you to get over to the right lane, so you're not just driving in what's considered the passing lane. Some people call it the fast lane, some people call it the passing lane, but it tells you to get over, and I think that's a really awesome feature as well. All right, folks, and just self-driving into my final thoughts of the 2025 Infiniti QX80. Now, my vehicle, again, is the Luxe trim. It does have one very large option, and that is the upgraded ProPilot program. I believe the standard one is like 1.1 or something like that. The upgraded is ProPilot Assist 2.1. This is how you get the full hands-off self-driving. With that, which I believe is $3,100, with that added, it brings this vehicle total to $99,000, I believe $875, so right at $100,000. And that's when this car becomes a hard pill to swallow. Standard, if you just get the base model QX80, it's right at $85,000. To me, that's what the car, even in this grade, feels as if it's worth. About $85,000. I have had friends get in the car with me, ride around with me. We're able to drive them around in the lap of luxury, obviously, and would ask them what they thought it cost. The highest someone told me was around $79,000 to $83,000, and that's not even what this vehicle starts at. So welcome to South Carolina. So just something to think about. I think when you think about the competition, mainly the Escalade and the Navigator, they just kind of blow this one out of the water as far as technology goes, as far as the feel of the interior, the look of the interior. By no means is this vehicle basic, but it just doesn't match up to the competition. Now, if you're looking at this or a Wagoneer, definitely this is leaps and bounds ahead of the Grand Wagoneer, even the most expensive Grand Wagoneer, leaps and bounds ahead of it. But as far as its main competition, the Navigator and the Escalade, Infiniti, you did a good job, just not good enough. But with that being said, I appreciate you for watching. If you made it this far in the video, definitely hit that subscribe button and share it with a friend if you learned something new today, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.